Oh, what do I think about all of this Vanderpump stuff that's going on? Vanderpump Rules, the Bravo hit reality television show, and all the stuff that's happening now. Because I watched the show and I'm following all the accounts, it just was like wildfire. And I did not jump on what was going on right away in terms of doing a recap here on my YouTube podcast, all the stuff. I like it. 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 But one thing I was saying is that I don't think that the show was already in a very good direction. So this is I guess like an added bonus, I guess the cast is working very hard to secure another season because, season 9 was very rough. And then there was also the moment where a lot of the cast members were growing older. Now I didn't think they were older. I think the show should follow that as well. But a lot of people tend to think keep it at the Vanderpump restaurant style, which I can understand. They tried to bring in a bunch of new people. I think none of them really were that intriguing. Danica was to me. I know not everybody felt Danica. And I think Charlie is still, 100% is maybe a big jump in terms of what I'll say here, but about 100% better than Lala. Like, Charlie's amazing on the show. I don't know why we're not giving more shine to Charlie. I like her a lot. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm just kind of conceptually talking about everything within Vanderpump and what I feel about it, what I feel about the Scandival, and how the show is doing, how it will do. And again, who asked me? Nobody asked me, but here we are. But here we are. And I do thank you, youtube.com, randomly Ronnie Jr. If you do want more, you can, of course, do the Patreon, because we do have one of those. Patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. As you know, over the years, I've been working within the radio, television industries, in Los Angeles, New York, Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas. I've just been doing all the things. So a lot of that does end up popping into the Patreon account. So go to patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. and you'll get more of what we're talking about here. But this was like a light, loose conversation I wanted to have about Vanderpump because, again, as I said, I didn't jump on it right away because I was like, oh, this is just the homewrecker story, and I don't know. And as the time has went on, I was just like, I want to kind of like get a couple thoughts across in terms of, who I feel is actually the villain versus the real villain, stuff like that. In terms of the show, I did not follow the show day one, but I followed it day two. Coming into the end of season 1 into season 2, I was like, what is this? And of course the neighborhood, I'm familiar with that area in terms of, I grew up in Southern California, but I always was working in the radio industries, as I told you, which everything is in Burbank. So for us to cross into that part of town was like quite, easy. And, there was always events and stuff there. In fact, across the street, it's not out anymore, but I remember there was a party, at a facility. I don't even know what they changed the names of the clubs all the time, but it's since been demolished. But that's where I saw Lady Gaga for the first time when she was still coming out of the artsy New York scene, and it was at an event. And actually, that day I was doing some red carpet stuff, and it was the day that I got to interview Kourtney Kardashian. I'm not the biggest Kardashian fanatic, but like still thinking about those memories. Like, it was an unknown Lady Gaga at the time. It was a still relatively unknown Kardashian. I mean, they were big, but not where they're at now, this is many of body shapes and faces ago for Khloe. That's how long we're talking about. But God bless her glow up. We love it. You hit my Patreon, support me, and maybe I'll have a glow up as well. Anyway, so I was always familiar with the neighborhood. I was always familiar with the area. I had not really went into the restaurant, sir, prior. In fact, recently I kind of went maybe for the first time. I'd been to Tom Tom, but I had never really been to Sir. And it's cute. It's fantastic. All the stuff. The show season 2 is when it's when I started watching, and I just remember loving it because it does. I think Stassi said it best. People move to LA or we moved to LA because we want to be, a singer, an actor, a performer, director, et cetera, whereas everyone else just moves because they want to work at Sir. It was just one of those like tacky but yet really good reality TV comments where she was just like, we're up here and everybody wishes they could be where we're at. And I just thought, oh, this show is good. It's got something. And the cast was a cute cast, that's for sure. But I've always loved it. I've always loved it. One person I've never enjoyed was Lala. I don't think she has a huge contribution to the show. But again, I know the way these YouTube streets work. It's always like, well, look at you, and and she's been on for whatever. Good for her. Kudos. Yay. Lauren, or whatever her name is. Lauren is on the show for all these years. Wonderful. Still not appealing to me, and that is what the basis of this channel is that it is a space to do critique of like, oh, okay, cool. That's somebody I enjoy. That needs work right there, et cetera. So I'm just kind of giving you the backstory of what I feel of the show and like who I liked, et cetera. But it was a good show and it became a hit. It became such a hit. It became a hit to the degree of, celebrities of the likes of like Jennifer Lawrence or Chrissy Teigen were really getting into it. And I'm trying to kind of define what it is, because I remember one time I was around two people in New York when I was living in New York, and they both are familiar with California quite a bit and had lived in California, but still in the mix in terms of always working, always booking jobs, et cetera, and one in production and one on camera. And I remember chatting with them, and they were like, oh, we both love Vanderpump because it's like it takes us back to LA. And I think there was a very good LA-ness of the show. So that's what I loved about it. Now, let's get to what I think about this show that becomes funny to me. I think this show piles on quite a bit. So I'm a little bit worried, not that they don't deserve a pile on in terms of like Scott, there's nobody named Scott Sandoval. But if there was, no. Tom Sandoval and Raquel, like the pile on, and then the reunion had happened. There's some talks of some physicalness, which I really never enjoy on these shows. I wish we were in a space where the network could be like, if that happens, you're off the show. But because that's the way, integrity wise, and I feel like everything should be operated. But it's so funny because I talk like that to people and they're always like, yeah, but the bottom line is the bottom line. And I'm always like, yeah, but how do you get points proven? Anyways, if there were hands put on somebody, I don't like it, but they'll probably be, bumped up. They'll get a pay increase. I mean, one of the most uninteresting Real Housewives of New Jersey cast members is Teresa Giudice, and she's not very entertaining. And she, nudged a table. She didn't flip it. She nudged it. She barely touched it, actually. But that bit of physical not violence, but physicality, a lot of people love it on these shows. So while I'm like, I hope nothing really, I hope it wasn't a pile on, and I hope, it didn't get physical on the reunion, which, we'll see. That person's probably winning right now. So it's not the best in terms of character within watching these shows. But anyways, what I will say is, of course, just even like wording it together. Tom Sandoval used to be with Kristen, and then when that became a situation where they broke up, Kristen got with James. And while Kristen got with James, Ariana got in the picture in terms of being with Tom Sandoval. But then when James and Kristen broke up, James got with someone named Raquel. And then when Raquel and James broke up, Raquel pretty much kissed everybody. And then it became like, how could you do that? Because, there was Katie, which was Tom's, business partner. How could you kiss Tom Schwartz? That's like the ultimate. Well, lo and behold, the ultimate off the camera of the reality show is that Raquel was like, oh, well, if you guys don't like what I'm doing with Tom Schwartz, just wait until you find out what goes on with me and Tom Sandoval. Because that was when off camera, it was reported that Sandoval and Raquel were hooking up for 7 months or something like that, like all that time. So yeah, it is not the greatest, but I think the thing that gets crazy is like the pile on everybody. It's okay to be supportive of like Ariana and be like, dang, that really sucks. Like Team Ariana, because what the heck, you really shouldn't blame the woman, Raquel, in this situation, Raquel Rachel, even though she knew Ariana, and that isn't great. But ultimately, it's the person you're in the relationship with. So if Ariana's with Tom Sandoval and Tom Sandoval strayed in that way, he really is the problem. It doesn't really necessarily matter who the person he cheated with, although this does not look great. But Lisa Vanderpump and Bravo, they're probably running to the bank because this is kind of exciting, in terms of the show. But the one thing that's interesting to me, and again, just an opinion, stuff like this has happened since season 1. That's a little bit how they used to arc the who is who on season 1. It was like, oh, Stassi used to be with Peter, but then so was Katie, but then Stassi and Katie are best friends, and this one used to be with this one. This show has always been very fluid in terms of fluids. So it doesn't really seem like that big of a difference. And the show also originated because apparently Eddie Cibrian, who left his wife to go with Leanne Rimes eventually, and for this long time, at least as it's been in the public, who knows what he does on the side. One of the cast members, Sheena, was right there, redeeming a little. She wasn't cheating because she didn't know, but he was cheating. So this whole show is kind of got a lot of that, and I just feel like the way they're jumping, the other cast members are jumping on Raquel and Tom Sandoval this harshly when it's all kind of already been done. Like, the rest is still unwritten. Well, it's all been written before. Like, this is all exactly what has already happened, just different. It's different players in the game, So yeah, do I think what Tom Sandoval did was great? Yeah, I mean, no, it wasn't great. Raquel, she wasn't even interesting as a cast member, let alone we're still talking about the scandal. But everyone on this show has kind of done that. People sometimes in regular life, and also the cast members here, they forget that people make errors or whatever, things happen, and that doesn't give it a pass at all. But the pile-on again is not what I like. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season ends out and how the ratings go. And this season 9 and 10 were well, wait, is this 10? Anyways, the 2 seasons prior were very, very uneventful. People weren't even watching the show. Now people can't stop talking about the show. And like I said, I went to SUR not even but a month and a half ago. And it was so fun. It was really fun. So there is an excitement around the show. Again, I think Charlie should be on way more than Lala. Lala was uninteresting, or Lauren was uninteresting at the very beginning. So I'll always kind of push on that. And I really don't like kind of how she's going to get to a space of like, I'm going to show and tell all of you how I think, Raquel was always lame because of this, and this. And it's like, isn't it sometimes hard enough to be publicly scrutinized because of your actions, even though they're your actions and you have to be accountable? But do we really need to hear Lala, like how tough does it make you when you're always fighting with, like, punching down, so to speak? Now, you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm intrigued by the whole thing. But we'll there. I don't know. It's just so interesting, again, to say it out loud. Tom Sandoval with Kristen, then Kristen goes with James, and then James goes with Raquel. And then when Tom Sandoval leaves Kristen, back in the day, Ariana is dating him for all of these years. And then again, when James and Raquel break up, Raquel's mindless and doesn't know what to do. And she's kissing this one and kissing that one and kissing this one and kissing that one. And then all of a sudden she kisses Tom Sandoval's business partner, which gets Katie upset, because she's she's recently kind of breaking up, divorcing from Schwartz, but it's like, oh, how could you cross that line? And it's like, oh, behind the scenes, they crossed many other lines within Tom Sandoval. So gives new meaning to going to the restaurant Tom Tom. But all of it is just something else, and it's going to be a moment in time that we're like, damn, remember when Vanderpump Rules had everybody hooking up with everybody for like the third time? Because again, this is like now a tradition on this show where every couple of years something like this happens. Now it's just a different group of participants that are playing the game. Yeah. I am very interested to see, what it turns into. Like, does this turn into us against everybody, Tom Sandoval and Raquel? Because Tom Sandoval is very he's very showy and not even controlling, but he's like Raquel likes the guy. Raquel would like, in my opinion, would like a guy like that because of she seems to want to be led, so to speak, and he's such the curator and the host with the most kind of a guy. But either way, the way people are ripping them online is just a little much. It's just like they're not. I mean, infidelity is bad, but there's just Twitter sometimes I feel needs to slow down a little bit. And one of the things that I think the show does sort of poorly is sometimes the cast members misguide their anger at a thing somewhere else. So like I remember it felt like people had their issues with Jax, but not really getting to Jax. They'd always be like, "Don't you mess this up," talking about with Brittany. And I remember it felt like they were putting all the, this is just again watching on the TV. What do I know? What do I know? Who asked me? But here we are. But it was like one of those things where it was like, it felt like when they were trying to uplift Brittany, it didn't feel as much as they were trying to uplift Brittany as much as they were trying to make sure they kind of sent a message to Jax. I wish I could rewatch the episode right here, right now, and explain it a little bit better. But I remember being like, do they like Brittany that much or do they hate Jax that much? And I feel like a little bit of that is going to happen here. Like they've not taking Jax and Brittany out of the situation. The current cast, has not liked Tom Sandoval. They don't like him. They've never liked him. He's selfless, but he's also selfish, and he's big and he's theatrical and and he's from St. Louis, and Andy Cohen really liked him in terms of their St. Louis bond or whatever. And I think a lot of people really didn't enjoy him for a long time. And so what I'm saying is this group has a tendency to, once they get a moment to jump in and find a way, they'll find a way. So it's like, are you really mad that Sandoval's with Raquel or hooked up with Raquel? Who knows where that goes? But or are you just taking out all that resentfulness you've had for him from the years past, and you shouldn't have done that to Ariana. Like, it just feels very like the way they would treat Brittany and uplift her in terms of also bringing Jax down. Like, Jax, don't you mess this up. Like, it felt like they were coming at him, but not for what was actually going on. I don't know. Maybe I'm making this all up in my head, but you were entertained. You stayed here. So there it is. Anyways, that was just a roundabout what is going on with the damn Vanderpump Rules. Have I been to Sir? Yes, it's wonderful. Tom, I also enjoyed getting some drinks over there. And, it's a vibrant neighborhood. I do think the show drops the ball significantly. I know Jesse, I think his name was. I think at one season he was trying to be pushed as a cast member. That was the season that Lala and James and... Wait, no, did they all come in together? Lala, Faith, James, and Jesse, right? Or no, it was Jesse, Faith, and Lala. James came a different season. He didn't come with Lala, Faith, and Jesse. But anyways, and there's been other people too, but like to not have in that part of West Hollywood, the neighborhood, tons of queer people, and it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, that there isn't any... Like, the show could be good enough to have the setting of West Hollywood, but like it's kind of erased. And it's like, what's that about? Yeah. And there's so many wonderful, fantastic, good looking gay bartenders, but they're featured as like little moments, but not like an actual story. No, put them in the story. Lisa Vanderpump, whoever's in charge of all that, put him in the story. And I'm not the only one who's saying that. That's the thing. Like, this is like a unanimous thing. Like, how dare you? I don't know who that even is to, but how dare you have a West Hollywood based restaurant show and you just gonna like make it like ain't no gays a part of it? Or if they are, it's very like, oh, it's Pride Parade and this is just fun. Like, don't like, even... It's like, as a gay man, like, you're very full. Like, you're like we are the elite, I always say. So you're gonna that needs to be shown on the show, is what I'm saying. And you found all these seasons and we're never able to make that happen. There's nobody that could fill the role. You're out of your mind. So that's a heavy critique. That's a truthful critique. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't want to do it. I've never waited tables. Although I think I would be a wonderful waiter or host. Hi, welcome to Sir. um, I'm kidding. But is that something that you see when you watch Vanderpump, or do you not care? I think it would be really great. I know they did scratch the surface and make it's complicated because I know from what I've heard of Billy, when Billy was on the show, she talked a lot about some of the treatment, and it's the show has to be examined, because some of the stuff that went on with Faith, some of the and Billy stuff is completely different, but like Billy just. It's just like one of those things. It's like, how come Billy didn't like the nonsense that Lala gets away with? It's like kind of odd to me. And I don't mean gets away with like anything. I just saying she's cheesy. She's corny. You connect the dots. Thank you. I'm done. I think I'm going to go to one of the restaurants, Schwartz and Sandy's or Tom or Sir. And I'm just saying it would be cool to see a gay guy, a lesbian, a trans or non-binary person up into the mix. Why not? That's the neighborhood that the shows are in. Like, make it happen. The audience is also relate to that. So it doesn't seem that challenging to mix that in with Katie. And Katie couldn't be more boring too. If you got boring Katie still on the show and significantly annoying / boring Lala on the show, clearly you can add to the cast. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Bottom line, Charlie to the top of the show because she's a superstar, and Sheena to the top of the show because she's a superstar too. I don't know that we love her with Brock. Okay, see all these tangents. This was just Vanderpump Rules commentary all over the board. I didn't really know what the direction was. I just wanted to talk about the show. I wanted to talk about Jackson, the chunky sweater, where and how exciting it is, even though there were some things that needed to be worked through and interpersonally and growth needed to happen. But it is interesting and exciting to see Stassi after what she had done, what she'd done, moved on, and she's having her second child, and her Patreon podcast as well. So everything is rooted in the same stuff, and there is growth that could be had, and the show's still really good and it's entertaining, and that's what we want is entertainment, because reality TV is fun to watch. So I gotta go. As I always say, hit that patreon.com/randomlyRJ Jr. It would be so helpful. And I hate to even ask you, but it would be so helpful. But in the meantime, in between time, I guess it is time to say goodbye. Until the next, sorry, I'm looking for the little button press, the little thing down there. None of your business. You don't need to really know what it is, but go up there. Let's see. Oh, wait, wrong way. Go up there to hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. because that connects all of the YouTube and podcast stuff from today, like within the current platform. And then also, I told you I've been in radio since 2001. Granted, YouTube started in 2005, but tons of old stuff, some archive footage over there, which is a lot of fun as well. So it's all kind of connected by the basis of that hashtag. So that's cool. Okay, that's it. Talk another time. If I'm wrong, I'm just giving my opinion. Hit those comments and say who you do like, who you don't like. Are people being too hard on Sandoval, too hard on Raquel, not hard enough on Sandoval, not hard enough on Raquel? Who do we want to see Ariana end up dating? Does it look like Katie wants to date Ariana? I mean, that might be the move. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. We don't know. So much to see next season. I don't know. They should bring me in as a consultant, and I'll get everything together.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.